Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Basically I did state in my last video, which you should go and watch, even though it's a bit melancholy, it's a bit sad talking about injuries and stuff. You know me, I'm an optimist. I like to stay positive, I like to stay happy. However, when people try me, I've decided to throw them up on this internet, on this good internet. So if anybody, all right, this, I could say, if anyone wants a background of what's happened, this whole video is a background of what happened. So I'm not even going to get into it. I'm going to just get straight into what I came to do. So I have been in court trying to, I'm not even going to say what I've been trying to do. I'm going to read the judgment from the last time I applied for a hearing at the court. And then when I've read through it once, I'm going to then go through it again. And then I'm going to tell you, I'm going to stop and tell you all the contradictions. Number one, the contradictions that are written within the judgment. And number two, I'm going to explain things further. So bear with me, sit with me, take me in, because if this has happened to me, this has happened to other people. Those people might not know it's happened to them, or they might not be able to speak out. Like I was once not able to speak out. So now I'm using my voice to talk about this subject. And yes, this does happen around the world, but here in England, the land of the free, it shouldn't be happening. Okay, so I'll go straight to the judgment, and whilst I'm reading, I'm going to try not to stop, and then the second time around I'm going to stop. And if I go off on a tangent, forgive me, because I've never come on here and said anything about this, and it is a bit, I don't know, it's heavy, isn't it, for somebody who's taking it on as a litigant in person. So that's somebody who's taken on their own claim, doesn't have legal representation. I am my own legal representation at this point. But let me just tell you, this is not the first judgment I've had. I've been in this court in particular since 2021. Obviously, that's shortly after COVID. Services were very different then. This is the final judgment they've sent me before. Let me not even go into it. Let me not go into it. Let me not, because I'm just going to end up crashing out. So let me just, yeah. Don't worry. I still recommend people to still go there and fight their cause. But you better do your research. Right, so this is the order, okay? I'll show you. An order is a stamped document which outlines the judge's perception of what you write to him. So I would have written to the judge a number of times. It's more than one judge. I would have written to him a number of times, trying to explain what's happened to me. I will say I'm an amateur. This is my first court rodeo. There is a lot that goes into being a lawyer, so I wouldn't take that role for granted by saying, you know, I should have been able to be understood and understand the process straight away. But that's all I'm giving them. I'm not giving them anything else. And they should have a two-strand approach to hearings, which should be one for litigants in person and two for somebody with legal representation. And I think that they have been unfair. But I'm gonna show you how. Okay, so this case is me versus the King's College Hospital. All right, now this case could actually in fact be against the King's College Hospital and others. So when there's and others, it means all of the people who've been involved in this situation. Okay, so I'm given a reference number, I've been given a seal, and the judge who spoke on this is, I don't know him, I've never met him, but it started in 2021 with Master Eastman. He's a retired High Court judge, and now this was written up by Justice Ritchie. Okay, also there's a person who works within the High Court called Rupi Kiran, and he has been writing to me for the 4 years back and forth, because, like, say for instance, every time I file something, he will come to me and say, oh, I found this, and if I ask for an update, he'll be the person that writes to me. He's apparently the team leader, and he took over the case, and he's been making all sorts of claims and stuff not against me, but saying that he's, say for instance, he will say, I've sent you the order by post, even though he hasn't. So I come to see how shady they can be at the court from those three people. So there's actually another judge, Sir Stephen Stewart. Okay, so that's three masters rather. One of them, as I said, is retired, and the other two, I'm not sure. I haven't done full research on them, and I haven't met any of these face to face. Although I requested an in-person hearing, they all three refused. So the claim is as follows. I will give you an overview. Okay, initially, I went to court. Somebody was jailed for sexual assault on me and other children as a child. Okay, after the guy was sentenced and put in jail, I found out that my medical records contain evidence that this happened to me long before it was brought to the police and to the courts. I found out all of this kind of like sleepily, taking in some information from people and not really taking it seriously. And so one day the light bulb struck and I was like, oh, okay, so I'm going to go down to the doctors, right? That's what you do. I say, doctor, can I get my medical record? Doctor says, no, you can't. And I'm like, sorry, I thought that was my legal right. He said, we've had a meeting about you and we've decided that you shouldn't have access to your medical records. And I was like, okay, shouldn't you have put this in writing somewhere? Shouldn't you have had this conversation with some kind of representative of mine? Should you not have told the courts this when this man was in court for the actual abuse? Like, what is really going on here? What is contained in these records? So there is a section of the Data Protection Act. I don't know when this act came into play, but it states that if the data controller believes the information in your records is harmful to you or to others, they are allowed to withhold the records. Okay. I'm like, this is all news to me. I've been involved with the courts and the police and you've never said this once until I've come up in here. So after that, it all went crashing down. I made a massive complaint. It went all the way as far as NHS England. After I made the complaint, the GP practice itself closed down. So that GP practice doesn't exist anymore as of, say, about 2019, when all of this kicked off. So they closed the place down and all of the doctors went elsewhere. Because obviously I'm fuming now. And I'm like, what are you people doing? So I will talk about that in another video, like what actually specifically happened with them. So now I'm stuck. Okay, NHS England's apologising. Oh, so sorry. You've been through all of this. What do you want me to do? I'm like, I want you, first of all, to explain to me why I have evidence that I was pregnant in 1999. I was 9 years old. Oh, we don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, pardon me? I'm like, so they say, go to King's College Hospital. This is what NHS England say. This is what the GP say. Go to the hospital. Wherever you say this happened, go straight there. I'm like, okay, fine. Go to the hospital. The hospital writes to the practice and to basically the NHS in general. And they say, okay, call her in. Okay, she's got to come to the women's department to view these records because she's going to need someone with her while she reads them because it's very sensitive material. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll do it. Let's do it. Okay, we're going to write to you about that. A couple months go by. I get back to them. Haven't heard anything. When's the date for this viewing? Oh, we wrote to you. What do you mean, when's the date? You missed it. You just didn't turn up, remember? I'm like, okay. You know you didn't write to me. I said, in fact, never mind. Can you show me the letter, please, of you inviting me to this meeting so that, where did you say you sent it or we posted it? Okay, send me a copy. I'm still waiting for this. I'm still waiting for the copy in 2025. Okay, but they've told even the courts that they wrote to me. Okay, then apparently after they wrote to me, they changed their minds and they said, actually, we changed our mind. You're not going to be viewing these records. Okay, fine. Can I have this in writing, please? No, I'll tell you what you do. You write to our lawyers. Okay, fine. I've done a bit of law in the past. I'm confident I can do this. Hi guys, you're the solicitors for King's College Hospital. Can you explain to me what they are saying to me, basically? Long and short of it. Oh, we don't know what you're talking about. The lawyers say, we don't know what you're talking about. We've got no record of this conversation taking place. We've got no records for you from prior to you having your daughter. It's the same hospital. I had my daughter in 2009. So I'm like, okay, so what about my birth records then? Birth records? What birth records? I'm like, okay, you have no record of me, but I was born in this hospital. So can I just have my birth record then? I'll just have a look at where I was born, what time I was born, the doctors were involved, and any other times I've gone into the hospital with injury. Oh, no, we don't have any records of you. Bear in mind, I have this all in writing, okay? Everything I've just told you is all written down, so that's receipts for you, okay? So I'm like, y'all are shady. Y'all are real shady. I start thinking, I start getting to researching. I'm like, okay, this has already been in the county court because this guy has been in front of a county court judge, right? The guy who did this to me. And I should take this to the High Court because this sounds like a personal injury claim from what I'm reading on the internet, not knowing much about law. So I said, never mind money, never mind compensation. That's not what I'm looking for. Unless I'm entitled to it. This is what I want. I want my records, or I want you to put in writing that you're refusing to give them to me. Simple. I've approached the High Court about it. Simple. That's what you do. I said to the court, look, I'm having some trouble with some solicitors and some hospitals and some GPs. Could we get them all in one room? Could we have a conversation with them? They've all stopped talking to me via email and refused to communicate. Cool. Here's the final judgment. So this is the third judgment. I've appealed twice to try and have this meeting held within a court setting for me to ask the individuals involved why they have said so many different things about this particular case. Now, they can say whatever they want. They can say she's crazy, so that's why we don't want to give her records. Fine, say it, but put it in writing. So I can hold a piece of paper up and I can say my medical records are changed. For anyone who wants to look at my medical records, they have gone into those files, deleted stuff, and put in what they want to put in because it's here on paper, right? I'm entitled to at least that. Anyway, this is what the judge said. So before the Honourable Judge, Justice Ritchie at the Royal Courts, he said, he wrote, initially you get all the normal data, the case number, etc. So then he says, the order is refused and it's marked totally without merit. Okay, Judge. Totally without merit's a bit hard, isn't it? I sent you a 50-page bundle. Actually, I did say I wasn't going to do that. So, no costs ordered. He said the reasons are the original claim is not before me, but it was struck out by Master Eastman because it was well beyond the limitation. So there's a limitation act to when you can bring claims to court. Okay, bear that in mind. The appellant appealed and put in the grounds of appeal, which were a long summary of her case. She sued the maternity ward at King's College Hospital for terminating her underage pregnancy in 1999 and failing to report this to the police. In the long subsequent recitation of facts, she variously asserted means that this might not be true. Check it. Variously asserted that she was R-worded by Earl Jr. She did not consent to the termination. She had been abused since 1994. Many others were R-worded and abused by him. Earl Jr. was convicted of all of this in 2014 and imprisoned. The claim, quote-unquote, claim was reported to the police in 2010. The appellant admitted that she was given scan pictures of her pregnancy in 2017 and became rightfully aware of her own pregnancy then. In 2019, the appellant made complaints about King's. She asserts that the King's College Hospital have concealed her medical notes from 1999. In 2018, King's agreed for the appellant to see her notes personally, but she did not attend. Since then, she's been refused access to her records because so it is asserted they might cause her harm. The appellant states it's possible that mind control has been used to conceal her own pregnancy from her. The appellant had permission refused back on 18th of the 1st, 2022 by Sir Stephen Stewart. Second, 2 years then passed. A notice was then issued by the appellant asking for the appeal to be restored. The notice asserted that 2 emails were attached, but they are not on C-file. Sir Stephen Stewart refused the application, but allowed 7 days for the application to be set aside. No such application was made. Relitigation. On the 12th of the 9th, 2024, the appellant applied to the court to allow her appeal due to new evidence. She asked for a hearing before a master. What she did not do was provide any witness statements, contemporaneous documents, new evidence, or reason for late discovery of the relevant new evidence, which was not identified. Despite that, if the appellant has suffered all that she has set out, her life has been very painful and very hard. That is no basis for a claim in tort law for personal injury or under the Data Protection Act, if that's where the appellant was aiming. The Limitation Act 1980 allows 3 years for personal injury claims and 6 years for claims in contract. The events occurred in 1999. It is not believable that, absent psychiatric evidence, the appellant was unaware that she was pregnant in 1999 when she underwent termination. A date of knowledge of claim would be unfoundable on what has been put before me. As for Section 33, discretion, Master Eastman considered it and rejected it. If the claimant wanted to run the claim to a hearing, she should have applied to the lower court, but she did not. There is no basis for reopening the refusal of permission in law or in evidence. There is no application for an extension of time. There's no reasons given for the delay. Finality in litigation is important. Clarity in setting out a claim is important. Likewise for appeals. The claimant is clogging up the courts with applications not based on any rule of procedure or law. This one is totally without merit. So we're going to start from the top, okay? Because some people can't read that well. So I might have just said all of that and it might have sounded crazy, okay? Let's start from all the basically the things he did wrong in this. Because he said a lot of things that don't make any sense based on what the conversations I've had, the research I've done. And the fact that he hasn't met me to confirm some of the things he is asserting. Anyway, let's start from the top. So he goes, Master Eastman struck it out because it was well beyond limitation. So when I read the Limitation Act, there is a clause in the Limitation Act which says something to the effect of, like, if you basically didn't know what happened to you, then you have a wider remit for limitation, right? So when I wrote back to Master Eastman initially, I told him about the fact that I only became aware in 2017. So the reason, so we'll get back to that, okay? He said, I put in a grounds of appeal, which were a long summary of her case, okay? But Master Eastman said that I didn't put enough information to him for him to figure out what was going on. So that's why they granted me the second appeal. So I wrote them like a 50-page bundle with all sorts of emails, texts from police, NHS, lawyers, etc. And he's saying he doesn't have, anyway, we'll get to that. So I wrote them, not only did I write them a 50-page bundle, I also, on the three different appeals, I've written like pages and pages of things with statements involved and with names of people and evidence from my medical record that confirms the things I'm saying. Because the first time I went to the doctors to ask about my scan picture was 2016. The doctor said in the notes, he says, she came in about her scan picture and we told her we can't do anything about this today. She needs to go to the hospital or whatever they said. So when I said that, when he said there's no way for him to work out when I became aware of it, then isn't it in my medical records? Like, secondly, if he said there's no way for him to work out when I became aware of the pregnancy, wasn't I in court in 2014 after the police investigated for 5 years? Did the police not look at my medical records? Did they not look at the medical records? Did they not look at the medical records? Or did the hospital take the information out of the records and refuse to give it to the police? If I was a judge, I'd want to ask the hospital, it's obvious that a police officer investigating a child being abused is the first thing you're going to do is look at the hospital record to see if you've ever been in hospital with any injuries that pertain to abuse. So how is he saying that there's no way to figure out who knew from who didn't know? Either the police knew or the police didn't know. Either the doctors knew or they didn't know. Either they've taken it out or they haven't. Why does the judge tell me he doesn't need to confirm that with me? Okay, so he said I was suing them because they terminated the pregnancy. That's not why I was suing them. I wrote in the documents, I said to him, I am asking for DNA. I'm trying to get my DNA test because the woman who took me for the abortion may or may not be my real mother. If she isn't my real mother, that's illegal. A stranger can't take a child, according to the medical union, whatever they're called. Their rules state that if it's a stranger that brings the child in for a termination, that's illegal. It has to be either parent. Okay, so that's one reason why I would have sued the hospital, because if there's no medical record for me, didn't they check who I was? If I came in there in 1999 and they said, who is this child? And this woman said, this is my daughter. Wouldn't they have said, do you have a red book for her? Where was she born? Who is the child? Birth certificate, medical evidence. They said they don't have a birth record for me. So if there's no birth record for me, wouldn't they have got suspicious? It's not just about the fact that they didn't report it to the police. It's the fact that the child that came into the hospital was an undocumented child, because there's no document to prove at this point who my parents are. If there is a document, they could easily produce that document to say, well, we didn't actually illegally to do the abortion. Obviously, Peter Ann took me to the hospital. She told them a lie about what happened to me. So, and if you think I don't remember, I obviously do now remember, because my memory has been jogged and kick-started. He's saying, when he went on to say, I believe that mind control was used to conceal the pregnancy, I'm thinking to myself, why are you twisting it? Obviously, I said to him, these people, yeah, you can ask anyone in Brixton, these people were part of a church that performs witchcraft, okay? Any Jamaican in the building will know what Obia is. There was a whole Obia church dedicated to witchcraft and mind control, okay? This woman and her husband were like doing the leadership business. They were up there, okay? So I said to him, be it that that's involved in the situation, I don't think that she just let it go that I was pregnant. I don't think she just was like, oh yeah, how traumatic, let me hug you and let you get over it. No, I was trying to say to him, I've been abused my whole life, and I do think she was hitting me, she was neglecting me, she was isolating me, she was locking me into cupboards and doing all sorts to stop me from thinking about what happened. Obviously, my life doesn't just stop at, oh, I was abused by accident by this crazy guy and I just forgot everything that happened. No, there was a lot that went on. Do you understand? So he basically I know for a fact he didn't read my witness statement where I described everything to him. Because if he read my witness statement, he would have called me into the court to confirm things. And that is something he should tell me. If you're going to write to me, he should say, I've read your witness statement and you said such and such a thing. He's only put one thing in here that he so-called read, but that could easily have been read by his judicial assistant. His judicial assistant would have read through things, paraphrased things, and given it to him to sign off. Nobody knows how they work. Anyway, moving on. So I wasn't suing the hospital just because I got pregnant and they did an underage pregnancy. Obviously, you're going to get rid of the baby. Obviously, no 9-year-old can keep a child. The problem is, what did the woman say to these people for me to be left in her care? Why is there no birth record for me? And why have you taken the record out of my medical records? What is the reason? What exactly is being covered up? We'll talk about that in a sec. Anyway, she said that he confirmed that obviously the guy's in prison, etc. Then he said about me becoming rightfully aware. I've spoken about that. That's in my medical records. The first time I've ever spoken to anyone about this is in that time. Yeah. And I obviously, when he's talking about witness statements, it's because I mentioned names of people that were in our lives at the time. I don't have contact with them. Those people are not going to be giving me witness statements. The only witness statement that's going to be given is fuck off. That's all they're going to be saying if I try to ask them. I pretty much thought that was self-explanatory. I've said that to him. Do you know what I mean? Like, in my statement, that's how I know he didn't read it. I said I would love to be able to ask these people directly, but I know I'll be met with hostility. Anyway, then the thing about me seeing the notes but saying I didn't attend, why has he not tried to confirm that? I tried to confirm that. I don't have evidence of being told when this supposed date was, so he could have produced that note for me because I said that to him in my statement. I said I have no evidence of being told what date or time I was supposed to come in 2018. So is this true or not? Be it that the hospital has lied about multiple things already. So then he said it might cause me harm. It's asserted that it might cause me harm. No, it's asserted by the Data Protection Act that it could cause me or somebody else harm. So how do I know that this isn't about another person that was involved? How do I know that it's the harm is me that they're talking about? It could be somebody else. So that's also rubbish. Then he said about the Limitation Act. Now, I just want to be very specific. By his own admission in this, he says, I made an admission that I found out about the scam pictures in 2017, right? And then he said, I went to court in 2019. He says the Limitation Act allows 3 years. Is that not within the Limitation Act, dear? You've written it in your own judgment. You said she became aware. She was given the scam picture in 2017. In 2019, the appellant made complaints about Kings. Is that not in the limitation period, dear? Is it not? I first spoke to a solicitor in 2018 on the King's College side. I was well within my rights to talk to them. So what the hell is he talking about, please? If litigation was already underway within the 2-year limit, the 3-year limit period. Anyway, like I'm telling you, these people, they're either half asleep or they're drunk. I don't even want to be disrespectful because I might have to see him one day, but I don't want to be rude. But what the hell are you talking about in this? It doesn't make any sense, right? So then he says, absent of psychiatric evidence, whether it's plausible that I wouldn't have known that I was pregnant. I didn't say I didn't know I was pregnant. I said to him, when I saw the scan picture, my memory came back to me. I've already explained I've had multiple head injuries, not just 2. In my last video, I described 2. Obviously, I've been hit in my head loads of times, okay? I've been left without food. I've been locked away. I've been locked in my room. Like, there's a lot of reasons and a lot of trauma that would result in me for having memory loss. I suffer from memory loss. Okay, there is no evidence of that, but he could have asked me to provide evidence. And my statement alone should have covered that. If I say I have poor memory, that should cover it, darling, because why would I come up in the big court and lie? Anyway, he said the date of knowledge of claim would be unfoundable. Bullshit, because there was a court case in 2015, in 2000 whenever, yeah, before this all went on. I couldn't have known before that because I gave an hour-long statement in court. Did I mention anything about her pregnancy? There's an hour-long statement. Plus, Peter Ann gave evidence. Did she mention a pregnancy? It's obvious then that she's covered it up because she should have said it to the police. Why didn't she say it to the police? Because she was covering for her husband. Say it with me. So all the law personnel in town, why did Peter Ann, because this is the big question, why did Peter Ann not ask the police to investigate the pregnancy at the time? Because she was covering up for her husband. In my statement to the police initially in 2010, I told them this woman took me to this man's house deliberately for him to abuse me. The police haven't forgot that, but they just, for some reason, they were like, oh, let's not talk about that right now. Oh, let's just leave that out. It's in my statement, video evidence and written. I've told them that this woman was abusive to me. Why didn't she explain about the pregnancy in court when she was going up against her husband? Because she was covering up her lies. Now, the reason she went to the police in the first place, right, is because I sat her down one day in 2010 and I said to her, I know you know that your husband abused me. I know you don't care. You're still married to him. You've kicked me out of your house. You've let me know I'm not part of your family. But I said to her, and I said it out of spite, I said to her, do you know that he also abused your son? And she broke down. She screamed. She said, what? Not my son. No, I had no idea. She says, Mara, you have to believe me. I didn't know what happened to you. I was like, yeah. You got to remember, me and this woman have never been close. The relationship has always been based on manipulation and she's always abused me, okay? The only reason she went to the police is because I mentioned her son. She's known what happened to me since 1999 or so, when she first questioned me about it. I told the police. She said, my son, no. What prompted me to do this out of spite is because after she kicked me out of her house, right, I lived by myself. When I was living by myself with my daughter, she kept coming to my house. When she was coming to my house, she was pretending to be my friend. Obviously keeping tabs on me, right? This woman would be like, oh, borrow me money. Your brothers are so evil. They don't give me any money for the house, you know. I miss you being home because she used to pay for stuff. And I was borrowing her money. And then my support worker in that house, I lived in supported housing at the time, okay? It's a great experience. Passed with flying colours. Never had any issues in there. She said to me, you know, you have expressed to us about you being abused. Why have you not gone to the police, or why have you not gone to counselling about this? And I said to them, well, I'm obviously not going to go to the police because the woman who took me to the man is crazy and she's made multiple attempts on my life. So I've been silenced, if you want the short answer. And she said, well, why don't you go to counselling? And I said, okay, yeah, I'll try counselling. That'll be brilliant. Went to counselling. My counsellor said, amongst many things, she said to me, you need to tell your, then we referred to her as mother. We don't talk about her like that now. She said, you need to tell your mother what happened to you. And I laughed in my head because I was thinking she already knows, but I'll play along. I said, all right. She said, why don't you bring her to counselling? I laughed and I said to her, she's not coming to counselling. If I said to her that my counsellor wants to meet her and talk this through, what's happened to me, she would absolutely make every excuse not to go. Okay? So that's that. That is that. That's why I said it to her. It was the only thing I could do for her to go to the police. I knew she would go to the police because it's about her son. Nothing to do with me. So she went to the police the next day. She said, I'm going to them. It was late at night. She said, I'm going to them tomorrow. Oh, I'm going to go to the police about this. I can't believe you did this to my son. No, not my son. I was thinking, yeah. Sad story, innit? So that happened. Obviously, I don't talk to her anymore. I've got her out of my life. Great for me. So that's why, another reason I'm approaching the court now about what really happened to me, because I wasn't able to do this before. You know, this judge, I'm not blaming him for not knowing me and not understanding and being able to see through the lies and everything that's gone on. But him phrasing it like I'm suing the King's College Hospital, like I'm this. This is how it's made me feel. Like I'm this person who's I'm looking for something. I'm on the lookout, I'm sniffing for cash. At the end of the day, I'm a working woman. I will work my ass off. I don't need no handouts, okay? I don't need handouts, right? I will do what I need to do to get where I need to get to. I've been like that since I was a child. I was never given a handout. I wasn't even given a birthday present. I will make it in life regardless. This man said, oh, you're suing the hospital with no proof. Are you dumb? Are you crazy? Are you absolutely dumb? Are you absolutely lost? I went to a hospital as a 9-year-old child and was cut open. A child was removed from my stomach. I have no record of the facts apart from a scan picture, which in fact does count as a record. And the people involved are not exactly saying this didn't happen. They're just saying, oh, you need to just, let's not talk about it, shall we? It's a bit yawn. So what does the British justice system owe me? It's not just about me. It's about any other child that went through this, because that man wasn't just doing that to me. He was doing it to multiple children. Okay. So, and his daughter, right, who went on to foster children, that's where the police arrested him, in her house, the foster child, the foster daughter, the foster woman. So he didn't just do this to me, dear. What does the British justice system owe me after writing me that? You could have just given me a hearing. All I was trying to do was, the way I'm speaking now, okay, I wouldn't have gone in there with this much force and aggression. I'm a very polite person in general, but this has got me. It's got under my skin. And I would have just said to them, you're making mistakes. You're writing them down and you're handing it to me to obviously, what are you trying to do? Make me come down to the court, scream and shout outside in my protest and get my, what should I get, one of these? No to child abuse, no to child abuse. What do I need to do? What do I need to do for these people to understand, that this is not just about money. This is about so much more. This is about a culture of men who have got away with doing heinous things. This is about the women that enabled them. This is about the systems and the structures that have held this thing in place for them to survive and to be okay and to thrive even. And it's not okay for you to write this to me, knowing that you've made so many errors. How can you say, the worst one, this is the worst one. How can you say in 2017, she found her scan picture, apparently, and in 2019, she came to the court about it, or she took it to, complaint stage. This is out of the Limitation Act. Have you considered the delays that I experienced from NHS England and the NHS solicitors? Have you considered that they deliberately delayed it, knowing the first time I spoke to them and when the Limitation Act, whose side is the British justice system on? Is it not your job to impartially listen to these situations, as particularly for litigants in person, and to make impartial judgments? Because what it feels like to me is like, you're just trying to hand my bum to me on a plate. When I'm actually not feeling that, because this is just about being heard fairly. I can speak concisely. I can explain everything you're asking and questioning me about in this document. I could have explained to you in a hearing. I could have said to you, look, this is not about money. This is about my data. Where is that data being held? How do I know I wasn't given some kind of drug? And worse, can I tell you the worst part? I don't even want to say it, because it's disgusting. I was abused in that hospital. There you go. Why is the hospital covering it up? Because they've got people in that hospital, and everybody, these stories have been coming out for the last, last 5, 6, 7 years of doctor after doctor after doctor abusing people in hospitals and in GP practices. I was abused by a doctor in that hospital. Right? So when I've gone on to say, I'm having serious flashbacks and serious memories, I know what happened to me. they're not withholding this data because it's harmful to me. They're protecting people in the hospital that should not be protected. They should be questioned about their actions. And quite frankly, I think if those people were looked into properly, there'll be quite a few more people that come forward with foggy memories and some instances that happened, some things that happened to them that they can't quite put their finger on. And that's the problem. And I'm going to keep fighting. Anyway, like I said in my previous video, I'm in court next month. Yeah. Oh, and the thing about the lower courts, him saying I should have taken it to the lower court. The man was tried in county court. I appealed to the High Court. If he made an appeal for about his sentence, he would have appealed to the High Court. So who am I supposed to appeal to if it's already been heard by a county court judge? Do you make sense? Please make it make sense. Anyway, I'm in court because I'm going to be asking about my DNA test. I don't have Peter Ann's number or any of her details. I don't have Matthew's number or any of his details. They're supposed to be in court with me. I wrote to Peter Ann's brother-in-law, who's the only person in her family that actually will answer my messages. And I said, could you please contact her and tell her about the court date? He said, I don't think I'll be doing that because she's had a really tough time recently and I think she needs to take it easy. I wrote to him 2 more times after that. I said, look, I've had 1 court hearing. I have been given a 2nd court hearing. She needs to be there to answer to the judge. Oh, no, I don't really want to be involved. So if she doesn't find out when the court hearing is, if she's not there, we know why. Another sabotage, another saboteur. I hope these people are watching. Yeah, Peter Ann, I hope you're looking and I hope you make it to court next month. Get on your bike, get in your Uber, get yourself down there. Yeah, and you can answer all these questions because you were the one who said, oh, I'll go to, what do you mean? This is her. When I went to her house, I said, what's this scam picture? Her son, Matthew, came behind her. He goes, what's this? What are you doing at our house? This is 2016. This before I went to the GP. I went to them, you know. I was thinking, this is amicable. This is easily explained. Oh, I was pregnant. Also, you thought that I did something naughty. Oh, never mind. Well, now you know what happened. No. He came outside and was like, you better move from our front door, yeah? Like, if I smash your face in type thing. After that, they moved house. So the next time I went to look for them, their house was empty. So I didn't see them for 2 years. And the brother-in-law that I was talking about and her sister, who he's married to, they contacted me one time and was like, oh, yeah, I just want to let you know that Peter and the boys, they're fine. They all live in East London now. We've been out to eat and stuff, you know. And, you know, they do miss you. They really do. Thanks for passing the message on. Lose my number. Yeah, so I didn't see her for 2 years. Then I saw her again. She contacted me out of the blue after a couple of years. It might have been 3 years. So I went to her first about the scam pictures. I had to go to the GPs because I didn't know where Peter Ann was. She left South London and I didn't have her address or her telephone number. So that is also in itself part of the case. She's never been asked to answer what happened. But when I did get to ask her about the scam picture, she said, what scam picture? What scam? What are you on about? Oh, that scam picture. Oh, that must be from a pregnancy I had. I was like, really? She was like, yeah. I said, so why has it got my NHS number on it and my details? She's like, oh, it must be a mistake. Well, I'll tell you what we do. We go down the hospital together and we'll sort this out, yeah? Obviously, that never happened. Then the DNA stuff started coming into question. Like, then the memories came back. I'm like, this woman, I actually remember, like, moving into her house at some point and being left there, like, by somebody. Like, obviously, the memories start getting a bit more. So I go to her and I say to her, look, I want my DNA test. She's like, oh, yeah, let's do that. If it makes you feel better, we'll do that because you are my daughter, you know? And I've seen her like only 2 or 3 times over the last few years, you know? So go to do the DNA test, and that's where the big event, which is documented on my Instagram and on this channel here, that's where she spat at me. So I went to, literally was approaching her with the swab, and she was like, get that thing out of my face, because she's a bit skits. She's like, she's like, get that thing out of my face. I'm not doing your DNA test. I'm like, hold on. 2 days ago, I came here. I've got a video recording of you permitting me to buy the test. I said to her in the video, I said, the test is very expensive. If I buy it, please don't let me down. So yeah, of course, yeah. I went there with the test. Yeah, I'm going to swab her. And she's like, I'm swabbing it. Like all drunk and all. Then she was like, all spat at me. She's like, there's your DNA test. Like, right. So that's another thing that's gone left. But that's the last time I saw her anyway. So that's why we're now going to try and get it done through the court way. Do you know what I mean? It's the right way to do it. There's something's definitely fishy there. So let me know in the comments or, you know, personal messages whether you think I'm absolutely nuts or whether you think there's some truth to what I'm saying. I'm open to scrutiny because, you know, at the end of the day, with not much feedback from her family, like with all her family having stopped talking to me at the same time in around 2018, it's hard to tell whether I'm crazy or not, but I'd like to think I'm not. So anyway, feel free to share your opinions on the matter. I will be updating the channel. Obviously the courts, God bless the courts anyway, you know, and God heal the courts and make everything all nice and fairy lights. But I do think there was a slight wrong in an error in judgment in the way they wrote to me. And I do hope I get an opportunity to stand in front of the judge and really have this out of him, because no person should have to go through this. No one. And as the days go on, I become stronger. So I'm not mad, you know. I'm still fighting for my career. I'm fighting for my life every day. I'm a parent. I'm a mother first. You know, you asked me also why I didn't approach the court sooner. Well, I had a toddler when this all started, a baby. Like, she's my priority. She's always been my priority. I look after her every single day by myself. I'm not running around the streets where, you know, some people got time to get up every day and go to the court and do all of that and leave the kids somewhere. I don't. I have to be there for my daughter. She's not well as well. So yeah, but I'm open to comments. I'm open to supportive comments as well, because you gonna need some support. And I'm going to be back with an update. I've got to finish writing up my statement for the court. Yeah, I've recently got in touch with some people who I grew up around, and a lot of what they're saying to me kind of like gives me the energy that something seemed suspicious about my upbringing to them also. But I haven't outright asked everyone, because obviously it's really sensitive, and I don't ever want people to think I'm only talking to them to like for my own selfish needs. Do you know what I mean? But I think, you know, hopefully in the next year or two, I'll have more answers and more clarity on the situation. But the first thing I'd like to get is my DNA test. See who I'm related to, who I'm not related to. And that's it. You know, again, for any family members that are watching, you're free to post comments. You're free to clear up anything. You're free to produce statements for court if you like. You can email them to me. You're free to make your own videos and describe your take on the situation, you know. Anyway, have a blessed evening. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's one of my longer videos, and I've enjoyed making it. It's very good getting this kind of stuff off my chest, because I do realise I'm not alone, but you can get so caged in when you're constantly on the go trying to deal with things. And yeah, you know, Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.